like somebody snapped their finger and there was no marriage between us, you know?
Right.
It was like, boom.
When I think about how quickly he moved forward from me to Marjorie, that was disturbing.
Have you ever noticed how one rumor can completely change the way people look at a celebrity relationship? One minute, everything seems picture perfect, and the next minute, social media is exploding with accusations, old secrets, and questions nobody can answer. That's exactly what has been happening around Marjorie Harvey and Mary Harvey. For years, the public has watched Steve Harvey and Marjorie Harvey present what looked like a strong and successful marriage.
I felt safe for the first time in my life. So I said to myself, he was there. He was like the brother, daddy, uncle, everybody. And that meant a lot to me. And my family meant a lot to me.
They became one of the most recognizable couples in entertainment. From red carpet appearances to family photos and luxury vacations, they appeared to have built a life that many people admired. But lately, the internet has been buzzing with a new wave of rumors. Online bloggers, social media commentators, and gossip channels have been pushing claims that old recordings and private information connected to the past have resurfaced. Some people are even claiming that tensions between Marjorie Harvey and Mary Harvey have reached a breaking point. Now, before we go any further, it's important to remember that many of these stories remain unverified, but that hasn't stopped the internet from turning this situation into one of the most talked about celebrity dramas of the moment.
The housekeeper, she brought it to me. And when she handed it to me, it was almost like that package burned my hand. I knew it was something crazy. I didn't want to look in it, but of course I had to look in it. So I opened it and I'm reading this letter. And the more I'm reading this letter, and her wording is so defined, it was like somebody was rolling tape. Her verbiage about him, like how he spoke, the words he said, you know, how he walked in the room, everything. She was like painting a picture of him being, you know, at their apartment or whatever.
And what nobody expected was that old wounds from years ago would suddenly become part of today's conversation all over again. To understand why people are paying so much attention, you have to go back to the beginning. Long before the headlines, long before the luxury lifestyle, and long before Steve Harvey became one of the biggest names in television, there was another chapter of his life, a chapter that included Mary Harvey.
You know, his lawyers came in, his team of lawyers and his entourage, and, you know, he's a man with the power. He's in 60 markets, he's written these books, you know, he's socially connected with the programs and Disney and all these type people. It's easy for him to come to court and say, oh, this woman has no job, you know, socially she is of no significance.
For years, Mary was part of Steve's journey while he was building his career. Their relationship became a major part of discussions whenever people talked about Steve's rise to fame. Over time, their marriage ended, and the divorce became one of the most heavily discussed celebrity separations in entertainment media. As often happens with public breakups, there were different versions of the story. Supporters of Mary believed she sacrificed a lot during the marriage and deserved more recognition for the role she played in Steve's early years. Others believed the divorce was simply a difficult chapter that both parties eventually moved beyond. But here's the thing about public divorces. Sometimes the legal battle ends, but the public conversation never does. Years passed, Steve's career continued growing, and Marjorie became his wife. Together, they built a powerful public image centered around family, success, and personal growth. To many fans, it looked like everyone had moved on. But social media has a strange way of bringing old stories back to life. Every few months, clips from old interviews resurface, old court discussions get reposted, old statements get analyzed again, and suddenly events from years ago become today's trending topic. That's exactly what appears to be happening now. Recent online discussions have centered around claims that damaging information from the past has resurfaced. Some content creators have suggested that private recordings and controversial materials are being discussed behind the scenes. Whether those claims are true or not, the rumors alone have been enough to send social media into a frenzy. And that's where the drama really begins. According to online speculation, tensions started building after various bloggers began revisiting old allegations connected to the Harvey family story. Videos started appearing everywhere. Comment sections exploded. People picked sides. Some defended Marjorie, others defended Mary, and before long, the internet was acting like a courtroom. What nobody expected was how emotional the reactions would become. Supporters of Mary argued that she has spent years trying to tell her side of the story. They claimed that many people dismissed her perspective while focusing only on the success story that followed. On the other hand, supporters of Marjorie argued that she has been unfairly blamed for events that happened years ago, and that much of the criticism directed at her is based on rumors rather than proven facts. The debate quickly became bigger than just two women. It became a conversation about loyalty, about betrayal, about second chances, about who gets to control the narrative after a relationship ends. Then came the rumors that allegedly pushed everything to another level. Several online personalities began claiming that old recordings connected to the past were becoming part of private discussions. Some even suggested that these materials could damage reputations if they were ever made public. Again, there has been no verifying evidence supporting many of these claims. But in the world of celebrity gossip, speculation often spreads faster than facts. Suddenly, everyone had a theory. Everyone had an opinion. Everyone claimed to know what was happening behind closed doors. And that's when people began asking a new question. If old secrets really were resurfacing, how would the people involved respond? Would they stay silent? Would they defend themselves? Or would they finally confront the past once and for all? The internet became obsessed with finding the answer. Every social media post was analyzed. Every public appearance was scrutinized. Every interview clip became evidence for one side or the other. And the longer the silence lasted, the more intense the speculation became. Because silence has a funny way of making people imagine the worst. The situation became even more dramatic when online commentators started framing the story as a direct conflict between Marjorie and Mary. Suddenly, headlines weren't just talking about rumors. They were talking about confrontation. They were talking about long-standing resentment. They were talking about unresolved history. Whether those claims reflected reality or not, they created a narrative that captured public attention. And once a narrative takes hold online, it's incredibly difficult to stop. What makes stories like this so powerful is that they touch on emotions most people understand. Almost everyone knows what it feels like to lose trust. Almost everyone knows what it feels like to look back at a painful chapter and wonder what really happened. Almost everyone has experienced a situation where different people tell completely different versions of the same story. That's why audiences become invested, because underneath the celebrity names, there's something relatable. There are feelings, there are memories, there are questions that never seem to go away. And for the people involved, that emotional weight can be enormous. Imagine trying to move forward while the public keeps revisiting your past. Imagine seeing old arguments discussed over and over again by strangers online. Imagine having your personal history turned into entertainment for millions of viewers. That kind of pressure affects families. It affects friendships. It affects public perception, and sometimes it follows people for years. For Mary, many supporters believe the emotional scars from the past never fully disappeared. For Marjorie, supporters argue that she continues facing criticism connected to events she may feel should have been left behind long ago. Regardless of which side people choose, one thing is clear: the story continues generating strong emotions. And perhaps that's because people aren't really searching for gossip, they're searching for answers. They're trying to understand who was hurt, who was misunderstood, who was telling the truth, and whether the full story will ever be known. As the rumors continue spreading, the biggest mystery remains the same. Will anyone directly address these latest claims? Or will the public be left piecing together fragments of old stories and internet speculation? Only time will tell. But here's the lesson hidden beneath all the headlines. Fame doesn't erase pain, success doesn't erase history, and sometimes the chapters people try hardest to leave behind become the very chapters the world refuses to forget. Whether these latest rumors turn out to be true, false, or somewhere in between, they've already accomplished one thing. They've reopened a conversation that many believed was finished years ago. And in Hollywood, unfinished stories have a way of coming back when nobody expects them. So what do you think? Is this another example of social media turning old drama into new headlines? Or do you believe there are still unanswered questions waiting to be addressed? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest celebrity news, shocking revelations, and entertainment drama. Because trust me, this story may be far from over.